People think actually that they're going to have like an ABB arm sitting next to them on a computer. I've actually had clients visualizing that. But what we do is that we build software robots. You can say that it's scripts working within the computer and automating actually what you are doing within the computer.
So chatbot is a artificial intelligence, or AI for short, software. It kind of has a chat between the user and the entity that a chatbot represents, where you can send queries to. You can say, all right, I want to know more about my customer data. I want to know more about this, or if you have any questions, or even they can do some tasks sometimes. And then it comes back saying in 2 minutes, hey, I've done your request. Is there any more questions?
GDPR, what it is that it's a regulation on the European level, which means that each and every individual has the right to understand what data that is stored and how that data is used. You can use, for example, RPA to look up and search in each and every system what is it that is stored on this person and how are we using it. RPA can also go in and delete information of that specific individual. Any system can be automated.
One of the benefits is time saving, like you're saying. So it also depends on how you see time saving. It could be, let's say, instead of taking a loan takes 2 weeks, you now take, let's say, half an hour before you get approval for a loan. That's a robotics process. But sometimes it could be, all right, instead of this human or this person at a high level in the company doing 40 hours a week with just this thing, we have a robot that takes the same amount of time working through it, but it frees up the time for that person to do more creative work instead. The best thing is usually to schedule at night, and it's because then you have so much free time during the day for the robot to do other things.
All right, so it must be exciting to work at AKOA.
It's very exciting, I would say.
Hi everyone. Hi Richard. Thank you for accepting the invitation to take part in our event. I'm really glad to have you here. So, like I'm used to saying lately, what a week this year has been. And I was wondering if you can tell us more about how did things go for AKOA. AKOA, UiPath Diamond partner with presence in over 7 countries, I believe. So how did things go for AKOA this year?
Hi, Irina. Thanks for the introduction. My pleasure to be on the interview as well. Yeah, so AKOA has had an amazing journey also in regards to chatbots. Maybe as a quick introduction of AKOA itself, we focus. We have 100% focus on automation, right? So we support our clients end to end by helping them in the identification of automation potentials, the development and implementation itself, maintenance and service. We also offer cloud solutions and the hosting. We support in change management, automation strategy. We also train and build up COEs at the clients. And that being said, we also support in the full technology stack that comes into mind when we talk about automation. There we obviously have RPA, which has been there for a long time. Also OCR in combination with RPA. Test automation is also a hot topic right now. Process mining, machine learning, and last but not least, chatbots, which are up and rising right now. Clients are asking more and more about it, and our focus is also, or our goal is also to combine all these technologies with each other. And I hope that we dive deeper into the whole topic, because Druid really offers great possibilities there.
Oh, thank you. So that would be my next question for you. How and why did AKOA choose Druid as the chatbot solution to present to their customers?
Yeah, so as AKOA is in a market-leading position in the field of RPA, we understand the importance to make complex technical solutions easily accessible to a broader audience, right? developing a chatbot shouldn't be a black box to everybody, because usually you hear natural language understanding, natural language processing, some kind of machine learning, and therefore it can quickly become a black box, and people think, oh, that's really tricky, and you have to be yeah, kind of a tech geek. But actually the stakeholders usually want to understand how a solution can be configured, and Druid just has done an exceptional job by making the topic of natural language understanding and also chat flows easily configurable. So it's closer to business people, I would say, and that, in my point of view, also is a reason why RPA became so popular, because it was more tangible to people. And on top of that, Druid offers these reusable pre-configured chatbots that makes life easier, not only in the development, but also demonstrating potential use cases, because it's usually a rather new topic and people don't have the imagination what you can do with it. And having these pre-configured bots, it's very easy to demonstrate what's possible.
Thank you. Yes, for sure. They really, I mean, from the experience that we have with customers, they really want to see how the chatbot acts, how the chatbot responds, and this is basically the easiest way to show them the capabilities of the chatbot. So basically, what were the needs of these specific customers that you have addressed with chatbots?
Yeah. So in general, if I would summarize the need that usually exists, is the thrive to have a central user interface for a variety of needs, because it's kind of complicated usually for people to say, okay, we do have an automation solution for that, but where do I find it? Do I have to click on this link? Do I find it on SharePoint? Do I have a website for that? With a chatbot, you can centralize anything, and people are kind of guided to what they need. And I think that's the general need that customers usually have, or they are thriving for. And to talk about maybe two specific use cases, there was one use case where the client had the problem of finding documents. They had a huge number of documents that were spread out in different locations. Also, some subsidiaries had their own locations and so on. And the employees always had a hard time to know the name of the document, or where to find the document, because of the different locations like SharePoint, Confluence pages, and so on. And there, the chatbot was just a perfect solution to find the documents based on like some user keywords that they would describe the document with, and also by learning the key message of the document's content. And therefore, we just asked the chatbot, hey, I need to find a document on, I don't know, HR strategy or something, and the document would suggest you some, the chatbot would suggest you some documents. So that was a really neat way to use chatbots. And another huge example that I think is really showing of how different technologies can play with each other or interact with each other comes with, if you think about RPA. So when you develop an RPA bot, there is basically always the question, how does the RPA bot communicate with certain users to retrieve additional information or missing information? And here it's always tricky to find a way the user provides the infos in a structured way, right? The first go-to channel would be emails. Kind of obvious to say, okay, we all talk about, we all communicate over Outlook, for example. And for the bot to be able to read, or an RPA bot to be able to read the mail, it has to be written in a predefined structured way, or have an attachment that conforms certain format. But that's very error prone, I would say, and it requires certain onboarding and training of the users. And here, with a chatbot, the user can be approached in a way that they don't, or they do not really feel like it's something they have to learn newly, right?
It's easy,
so
yeah.
It's correct.
And they are accustomed to just texting and discussing in a normal way, yeah.
Correct, yeah. And there you can just ask every piece of information one by one, and the user would just chat as with another employee. you couldn't do that through an email because there you would have to write all the information in one structured format, but the chatbot can guide you through everything. And that's just huge. And you can also just approach users from an RPA bot proactively and just get the response really quickly rather than waiting for emails to be written and so on. So that's another great example where our customers were really happy with chatbots and RPA bots. And for me as a developer, it was just really easy to do it with Druid rather than with comparable solutions. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would lead me to the next question that I had prepared for you. So basically, the experience as a developer with the Druid solution, and if I may say so, a comparison between the two versions, because you already had a preview of the new version of Druid. And I was wondering if you can give us a feedback in regards to the changes that we've done.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, to like my experience of getting into Druid, I like right after finishing my first training, it didn't really take long for me to create a first chatbot, kind of a hello world situation as you always have. So that's really easily done. And then the next thing, like you get more and more excited about things, you start playing with connectors because you want to connect the chatbot with other things, for example, an RPA bot. That was also like with the examples given and so on, you easily connect it to different sources, for example, an SQL database, also the UiPath bots and so on. And then you define entities, which is also very handy because you kind of have the thinking of like entities and properties all the way in all automation solutions. So it's also very easily and nicely integrated. So everything is really understandable, and also the connectors. It's just a neat way to get into it. However, in the beginning, there were a few things that I had in my mind. It would be nice to have this and that. And then with the new release, I'm very glad that that there is this new conversational flow layout where you have kind of a more of a graph where you can see you jump here and there. That makes it a bit more understandable. I mean, I got used to the previous version, but now it's just really nice to have everything within one view. So yeah, to me it was really easy to get into it, and very like I could create solutions very quickly, at least on a proof of concept or pilot standpoint.
Yeah, I know that because you had such a quick start with Druid that we were impressed actually because you started building chatbots on your own and just asking for specific help, and that was quite nice. What about the future? How would you see the platform evolving, and in terms of addressing the customers?
Yeah, so like the new features, for example, the new conversational flow, it like you might think it's just a nice goodie that people have a nicer view on things, but to me, things like this really rise the level of quality also of the code, because code is more understandable. It's in every programming language you try to make code understandable. So it's a principle of least astonishment. If somebody looks at the code, they have to understand it right away and not be surprised. And things like this really help also in the long run. Maintaining code, usually the developer is not the one who has to maintain it and so on. So that's a huge step for me, if you ask me as a developer. Also, what I wanted to point out is the point of library. That like now there is, I mean, there were predefined solutions before, but the word library just makes my eyes really shine, because every programming language also is kind of rated by developers in terms of libraries. I would say like that's a huge factor if people like it or not, because if you have to code everything on your own and reinvent the wheel over and over again, people are more prone to say, I'd rather go for this programming language. For example, if somebody had to code everything in C, that's really hard, but people would rather go for Python, where you have millions of libraries. And that's also something that can make a chatbot platform outstanding, because you don't have to reinvent this workflow, but there is already one that gathers HR information or something, and you just pull in whatever you need, and you have a very good standpoint. So from that point of view, I think like I'm looking really forward to the new release and using all the new features. That really is a step forward, because in my point of view, it's some kind of software development. Even if the syntax is kind of low code, I would still apply the same principles as for other software languages.
Good to hear that you like our new library. We've done our best to cover the use cases that are commonly requested by the customers, so that you as a partner would find it even easier to deploy and address the needs of the customers. So yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Richard. Looking forward to new projects together with AKOA in the DACH region, in the Nordics. So the future looks really bright, and I'm really glad to have you as partners.